So let's grab your 2 long sticks, so whether you have the 2 6-footers or 2 7-footers, and we're going to get set up with our feet shoulder width apart. So we want to place the sticks at 11 o'clock with your left hand and 1 o'clock with your right hand. And I want you to reach up high on the sticks. First thing we're going to do is wake up those feet. So we're going to start with one leg at a time. We're going to start with your right leg, and what I want to do is take that foot and ankle through that transverse plane, and we're going to do circles. So we're going to get 5 to 6 nice and slow. Go ahead and look down at your feet. We want to go from big toe to little toe, all the way to that outer edge of the foot. We're getting motion in the toes, motion in the feet, motion in the knees, and all the way up to the hip. The goal here is to keep that upper body still, so let's make sure we drive those sticks down into the ground at about 20 to 30% effort. So now let's move around in the other direction. So now we're going pinky toe to big toe. Try and follow my pace. We're going to go nice and slow here. So let that heel almost touch the ground, roll to the outer foot, to the pinky, to the big toe. Come back around. We're going to get about 5 or 6 reps before we switch sides. All right, let's move on to the left foot. So we're going to go big toe to little toe. Go ahead and look down at the feet. We're trying to bring awareness into the foot, the ankle, the knee, and the hip. If you watch my hips, there's no motion coming from the hips. We want to try to disassociate those joints. Pushing into the ground for stability. Let's reverse directions. Now let's go pinky toe to big toe. That heel is coming up off the ground as high as you can when we're rolling onto the toes. And as we lower, the heel is barely going to touch the ground. We're going to roll to that outer edge of the foot, pinky toe to big toe. We're going to get 4 more reps. Nice and controlled. If you want to add a little bit more weight, you can shift more weight to that foot. Okay. So go ahead and shake those feet out. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of strength. So we're going to keep the knees soft. I still want your hands up high. The sticks are used for stability here. We're going to come up all the way up onto the heels. We're going to hold. And lower down slow. Once the heels touch, I want you to come right back up. Strengthen those feet, strengthen the calves. There's a very soft bend in the knees here. We're going to do 5 reps, and we're going for a 3 to 5 second hold at the top. We're going to come down nice and slow. 2 more. So it's okay if your head changes levels on this one here. Come back down slow. Okay, last one. All the way up. Hold it. And down and relax. All right, so now we're going to move into the hips and to the spine. So feet are going to be just wider than shoulder width apart. I'm going to show you a couple different angles here. We're going to place the sticks just inside your insteps, inside your big toes. And first thing we're going to do is hinge the hips, reach forward, try to elongate that spine, push your hands away from your hips as far as you can, and I want you to drive the sticks into the ground at about 20 to 30% effort. Once you get into position, we're going to flex your spine. So what I want you to do is try to round your back, tuck your chin, and we're going to sink that sternum towards the ground. We're going to get extension. You should feel your shoulder blades retracting a little bit. Let's come back to neutral. Stand up. We're going to raise your hands up high on the sticks now, and I want you to roll your hands in, and we're going to go into a back bend. So drive the sticks into the ground at about 20 to 30% effort. Squeeze the glutes, squeeze the abs. Push your hips forward, pull the sticks behind you. Only go as far as you comfortably can. Look up towards the ceiling. And come back out of it slow. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see what's going on for the next rep. So sticks are in the same place, hip width apart. We're going to push the hips back, drive those hands forward. Remember, try to push your hands as far away from your hips as you can. And now let's lightly drive the sticks into the ground at 20 to 30% effort. Now tuck the chin, flex the spine, pull your pelvis and rib cage closer together. And then now let's go into extension. Pull your rib cage down to the ground. Look ahead with your eyes. Come back to neutral. We'll stand up. Get your hands nice and high. Roll the hands in. Squeeze the glutes and abs. We're going to pull the sticks back. Go into as comfortable of a back bend as you can. Look up towards the ceiling. Let's take 2 breaths here. And come back up. We've got 3 more reps, just like that. So push those hands away, hips away into that nice hinge. You might feel a little stretch in the hamstrings, stretch in the lats. Now we're going to drive the sticks into the ground, flex that spine, round it like a turtle. And now pull your sternum towards the ground, eyes forward, going into thoracic extension. Come back to neutral. Stand up nice and tall, hands up high. Roll those wrists in. Squeeze the glutes and abs. As we pull the sticks behind us, we should feel a nice stretch through that anterior chain, through the chest, through the arm lines. Feeling our back muscles and our glutes work here. Come back up. We've got 2 more. Big reach. Tuck your chin, flex your spine. Now let's go into extension. So look straight ahead. Pull your sternum towards the ground. Drive those sticks into the ground. You might feel your scapula retract as you do this motion. Come back to neutral. Stand up. We're going to go into that back bend again. Open those sticks up. If you can, try to get just a little bit further, but go to your comfortable range. We're not trying to kill ourselves here. Come back up. Last rep. Push those sticks forward. Tuck the chin. Round your back like a turtle. Pull your sternum towards the ground. We have that constant tension to the ground with the sticks. Come back to neutral. We'll stand up. And now we've got our last back bend. So hands are up high, roll the sticks, roll your grips in. Pull those sticks behind you. Come back up and relax. Okay, now we're going to move into a split stance. We're going to get our right leg forward, left leg back, and we're going to get into a hang position. So the base of the sticks are going to be at 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock, right in line with the toe line. And we're going to sink down until we're hanging. If you want to challenge yourself more, you can bend that back knee, but to keep it a little easier, let's keep that back leg nice and straight. So we're going to sink in until we're in a light hang, so we have even pressure between our arms and our legs. Now what we want to do here, we're going to start to get some thoracic rotation. I'm going to push my left hand forward and pull the right hand back. As I pull this right hand back, I'm going to feel that scapula retract on the right side, and the left side, I'm going to feel that scapula protract. We're going to switch. So these sticks aren't crossing your midline. Think about the sticks being between 2 window panes, and they're moving along that plane. We're going to move slow. If you feel your legs getting really tired, come up a little bit and sink back down. Remember, we don't want to smoky here. This is just our daily maintenance, so go at the right level. We'll do 2 more. Try to follow my pace. Pushing the left hand forward, right hand back. We want to keep your hips nice and still. Let's come back up, and we'll switch sides. So sticks are in the same position. Pull that right foot back. Get into your hang. Hips stay nice and stable. We're going to pull that left hand back. Push that right hand forward. Now switch. Pull your right hand back. Push the left hand forward. Pretend like you're swinging on monkey bars. Getting some thoracic rotation. We're going to get a nice stretch into the lats, the rib cage. Follow my pace. We've got 2 more reps. So swinging through the monkey bars. Last one. And let's stand up nice and tall. All right. So we're going to keep those sticks at 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock. Now we're going to start working on some single leg drills, strengthen your balance, strengthen the feet, strengthen the hips. We're going to go into our stick taps. So I want your hands at sternum level, and you can have your arms slightly bent or straight ahead, whatever gives you the most stability. We're going to take that right knee up into flexion. So go as high as you comfortably can. Remember that we're not trying to crush yourself, so you don't need to go to maximal range. We're going to lightly push with the outer edge of our right foot into the stick on the right at about 20 to 30% effort. Now we're going to switch with our instep, push the stick on the left. Now, as far as placement on the stick, if you can't get your foot to the stick over here without shifting your hips, I want you to move that stick in a little bit closer. And from here, we're going to come back to the middle. We're going to go into knee extension. So kick that leg out where you can. If you feel like your leg is dropping, just kick out until you get to that position where your thigh stays level. Now we're going to go into our single leg hinge. We're going to hold and come back up nice and tall. So before we go on to the next rep, if you have issues standing on a single leg, going to the hinge, and you find that challenging your balance too much, what we can do with this right leg is create a kickstand by pulling our right toe back just behind the heel with a very light touch, and we can still go into that hinge and come back up. So go at the right level for you. So let's go 4 more reps on that side. Right knee comes up to 90 degrees. We're going to push the stick on the right. Remember, knee stays centered in your midline. Instep touches the other stick. It's a light push, 20 to 30% effort. Come back to middle. We'll go into extension. Come back. Get into our single leg deadlift. Pause. We'll come right back up. 90 degrees. Touching the stick on the right, working on internal rotation of the hip. Touching the stick on the left, working on external rotation. Coming back to middle, so we extend the leg out. You're going to feel that quad working. As we go into our single leg deadlift, you're going to feel the hamstring and glute on the left leg. By now, you should feel the foot muscles on your left leg really burning. 2 more reps. Come up. Light tap, 20 to 30% effort. Switch to the other side. Back to middle. Extend the knee. Into the hinge. Last one. Out to the right. To your left. Come back to middle. Extend. Last hinge. Pause. And come back up. Switch legs. So feet together. Hands are in the same position. Pull that right knee up to 90 degrees. We're going to go into internal rotation. Outer edge of your left foot drives into the stick. As we push our foot in the stick, that stick shouldn't move. If anything, there might be a very light flex, but at 20 to 30% effort, we shouldn't see too much flex. Instep touches. Remember, if you feel like it's too far, bring that stick in a little bit closer. Come back to middle. Extend the leg out. And into the hinge. Come back up. So we're working on hip flexion here. As the stick goes out to the left, or foot goes out to the left, we've got internal rotation. And you're also going to feel that foot on the right having to stabilize into the ground. We're going to go into external rotation. Come back to middle. Go into extension. We're strengthening the left quad and getting an active stretch in that left hamstring. Go into your hinge. Come back up. Last two. Pushing the stick on the left, 20 to 30% effort. Stick on the right. Back to middle. Extend that foot out there. We'll hinge. Remember, when we do this hinge on this side too, same thing. If you need that little kickstand, keep the toes down on the left side. Okay, last rep. Pull that knee up to 90. We're going to pause. Outer edge of your left foot. Touches the stick on the left. Knee stays in the middle. Come back over to the stick on the right. Don't let those hips slide. Extend the foot out there. And let's go into our hinge. And stand up nice and tall. Okay, so now we're going to move on to one stick here. So now we're going to start working on some lateral flexion of the spine, getting all the way down into the hip, IT band, and lateral ankle mobility. So we're going to go into our bow and arrow. So we're going to place our feet hip width apart. We're going to start with our left hand. Place the stick at 9 o'clock. Your arm is going to be at 90 degrees. Taking our right hand, reaching over the top. To initiate this motion, we want to push our hip away from our hand. So I'm going to drive my hip out to the right, and now I'm going to push the stick away from me. Squeezing the glutes and abs. I want to stay in this lateral plane. I want to try to avoid rotation, and I want to avoid extension. We'll come back up. So it's important when we're doing these bowing drills to rotate that stick. So go ahead and push that stick away, push the hips away. We'll take a couple deep breaths here. Come back up. We've got 3 more. So drive your hips, drive the stick away. Make sure we tilt that head to your left. We should feel that entire right side of your body getting a nice big stretch. 2 more. Push the hip to the right. Drive the stick away. Let's add a little bit more tension in here by pushing the left hand into the ground lightly and lightly pull the top hand towards the ceiling. We'll come back up, and we've got 1 more. Push those hips away, push the stick away, drive that left hand into the ground, pull that right hand up towards the ceiling, and we'll come back up. Okay, switching to the right side. So we're placing the stick about 1 foot away from that midfoot, elbows at 90 degrees at 3 o'clock position. We're going to take our left hand, reach over the top, thumbs down, and we're going to push your hips to the left and drive that stick away from you. So same thing. Let's try to stay in this lateral plane here. We'll come back up, nice and easy. Push your hips and hands away. Breathe. And we've got 3 more here. Remember, spin that stick between each rep. We want to maintain the longevity of the stick. Push the left hip away, push that right hand away. Tilt your head to the right. On this side, you should feel a nice big stretch through that whole left lateral chain. And we'll come back up. 2 more. We're going to add a little more tension by pushing that bottom hand into the ground. And we're still at that 20 to 30% effort. Top hand, pull lightly up towards the ceiling without bending your elbow. Come back up. And last one. Push the stick away. Hips away. Tilt your head. Drive that stick into the ground. Pull that top hand towards the ceiling. And come back up. Nice and slow. All right, so now we're going to grab our short stick. And we're going to take away some of that stability. And we're going to go through some similar motions with the spine. We're going to get some flexion, some extension, get your arms overhead, and get you to rotate. So I want your feet hip width apart. We're going to place your hands just wider than your hips. And first thing I want you to do is compress the stick together. So feel like you're squeezing these grips together. It's going to light up this anterior chain. We're going to keep our legs straight. And as we're going to press the stick into our thighs, and we're going to roll our spine down, tuck in the chin. So get to where you can. We're going to roll back up. Now we're going to pull the stick apart. That's going to light up the posterior chain, the shoulders. We're going to bring that stick up overhead. And we're going to squeeze the glutes and abs. And we're going to lean back and look up. Bring it back down. Once you get to eye level, I want you to compress that stick together. I'm going to show you from the side view. So compress that stick together. Push the stick into your thighs. Get down as far as you comfortably can. Tuck in the chin, rounding the spine. Push the stick into your thighs on the way up. Try to roll back up. Once you get to tall standing, I want you to pull that stick apart. Lift it up overhead. Squeeze the glutes and abs. And we're going to go into that back bend. Come back to center. You're only going as far as you comfortably can go. So squeeze that stick together. If you feel like you can get more range, go ahead and get a little bit lower. Pushing the stick into your shins, your thighs. Once we get to the tall standing position, pull the stick apart. Lift it up overhead. So if this is your end position, that's okay. If you have it in you, then go ahead and add in that little back bend and only go to where you can. Come back up. Squeeze that stick together as it gets to eye level. Last 2. So squeeze, 20 to 30% effort. Tuck your chin. Come back up. Pull it apart. Light lean back. As we lean back, look up towards the ceiling. Come back to center. Squeeze that stick together. Last one. Compress the stick. Roll your spine down towards your legs to the floor. Press the stick into your shins on the way up, into the thighs. Pull that stick apart. Lift that stick overhead. And lean back. Squeeze the glutes and abs. Come back to center. And relax. So now we're going to add in some lateral flexion here. So we're going to bring that stick up overhead. And you're going to lightly pull with your right hand and pull yourself into lateral flexion. Now we're going to pull up with our left hand to get to that other side. As you're pulling with your left hand here, you're obviously just lightly pulling with that right hand to resist. We'll do 3 reps. Go to where you can. You may not get as far as you did in the bow and arrow, and that's okay. You can keep building on each rep or each session. The goal here is to keep improving the quality of motion as you go through this on a daily basis. So last one here, we're going to get into a split stance. Right leg is forward, left leg is back. Go as deep as you want or stay up high like this. We're going to place the stick at our thigh. We're going to rotate, without moving our hips, we're going to rotate the stick towards our right hip. We're going to get a little thoracic rotation. We're going to pull that stick up overhead. Rotate it around, bring it to our left hip, and continue that motion. Rotate it to the right, keeping the hips nice and stable. We'll do 5 reps. The whole time there's a very light pull apart on the stick. We're still sticking to that 20 to 30% effort. Last rep. Pull the stick to the right. Up and around overhead. Come back to center. We're going to switch sides. So left foot's forward. Right leg is back. Without moving your hips, let's move that stick to your left hip. Pull it up overhead or to where you can. Rotate to your right. Come back down to the right hip. Hips are stable. Light pull apart on the stick. As you go through this motion, we're getting thoracic mobility, shoulder mobility. We're getting those scapulas to move. 2 more reps. Pull it apart. 1 more. Light pull. Lift that stick up overhead. Come around. And relax. And that is your daily routine for September with the 3-stick bundle.